All right, what's going on, guys? How's it going? What's going on, Genghis Khan, Saket, Siddharth, Dilip? Good to see you guys again. Um, so, what are we going to talk about? Hey, what's going on, Drew? Avar's going on. Yeah, busy man. We're about to talk about that here in a second. Where have I been? As you can probably notice, I'm not in my usual center. I've been traveling a lot. I'm at my parents' house for the holidays. Yep, Liam, you nailed it. Um, so let's talk about like where I've been the past 2 weeks because I haven't really put out a video. That kind of goes into the project I've been working on. Had a weird turn, and then also I've been traveling a lot. Like I said, I'm kind of like on a month long East Coast tour. I visited my sister in Charlotte. We went to like a Jay-Z concert and stuff just the other night, and then now I'm up at my parents back in Pennsylvania. So I'm going to be here for the next like 2 or 3 weeks, just through the holidays. Videos will still be coming out, but I'm not in my normal work mode, my normal command center kind of thing. So I'm working off just my laptop, which is like quite an adjustment. Yeah, Mark, it was an awesome tour. It was actually my first concert I've ever been to, interestingly enough. And obviously, Jay-Z's been around for 20 years. It was amazing. It was awesome. Highly recommended if you can, if he's coming to your town. But anyway, so where have I been? The main reason is because the project that I've been working on is, and I've told you guys about it, it's the fitness app. It's the one that I got into a groove on. It's the one I was excited about. What happened was we were supposed to launch that on December 1st. So, 11 days from now or whatever. However, I don't know all the details. They have some opportunity that they need to launch by November 20th. So if you guys have ever launched an app, those days leading up to the app launch are just crazy. Bug fixes, trying to squeeze in last second features. It's just insane. So imagine like you think you have, 2.5 weeks left, and all of a sudden they take away 10 days from you. And you're like, okay, now you only have like 7 days left. So that's why the YouTube videos have stopped. And then on top of that, I was traveling, like I just mentioned. So YouTube had to take a back seat because I was doing just 10 hours a day of getting this project out there. We're still trying to launch tomorrow. But I did want to squeeze in this live stream because I haven't done one. I literally haven't done anything on YouTube for like 2 weeks. So I absolutely wanted to squeeze one of these in, even though, like I said, I'm at my parents' house and I'm still super busy. So that's kind of what I've been up to. Also, two super cool things I did this past Sunday. I recorded 2 podcasts. If you guys are familiar with Fireside Swift or Swift Coders podcast with Garrick, I actually recorded both of those last Sunday. And I believe I know it is. The Fireside Swift, just search for that on the iOS podcast apps. That actually got released on Tuesday, I believe, this past week, or maybe Wednesday. But anyway, we talk about like the job interview process there. But it's my first ever podcast, so I preach about online presence and kind of putting yourself out there. Well, that is now leading to me being on podcasts, which hopefully will lead to me like speaking places. It's all baby steps, but it's all possible because of this YouTube channel. So again, you guys know I always preach, starting a blog, interacting on Twitter, all that stuff. Just a lot of unforeseen opportunities will open up from there. Yeah, Drew, thanks. Listen to me at the gym. I hope that went well. Like I said, my first ever podcast. And then Garrick's, the Swift Coders one, that's going to be coming out, I believe, at the end of November. I think he had two podcasts lined up before mine. So pretty cool stuff. I'm looking forward to that coming out and seeing kind of if I get a spike in audience or anything like that, and seeing kind of the reception on how that goes. That's kind of what I've been up to. So just wanted to kind of give you guys an update. I'll go ahead and catch up on the chat. If you have any questions, feel free to ask away. Let me go ahead and kind of catch up here. Yeah, Mark, no explanation needed. Grind it out. Yeah, that's another interesting thing with the YouTube channel is, and I know you guys don't, you don't judge me for it, but I do feel obligated to put out content on a regular basis. And if I don't put out content for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, like I start to feel guilty. And I know I shouldn't. I know you guys aren't, you're not gonna like hate me for it, and I know that you guys understand. But it's just I can't help feeling guilty for not like putting out content. So we'll be getting back to it here probably after actual Thanksgiving this Thursday. Because I got a lot of family stuff going on. This is my first time being home in probably about 6 months or so. So yeah, I got a lot of family stuff to do, but we'll get back to it. Socket says, in one of your videos, you use regex, which is regular expressions, for email validation. Do you completely understand the regex? Nope. What I'm trying to ask is, do you understand everything you write? So, especially with regex, because it's all the way the different symbols, mean certain things. So pretty much everybody always has to look up how to do the different regular expressions for things. And then no, do I understand everything you write? Everything I write, I mostly understand. Like I'm not gonna say I never do it, right? I'm not perfect, but I rarely try to just like copy and paste something in my code and then, oh, that magically worked. I guess I'm just gonna leave it, cool, move on. If it magically works, so to speak, I try to figure out why it does. And obviously earlier in my career, I couldn't figure it out and I was like, well, it works, so move on. But now that I'm progressing through my career, that happens less and less and less. And now it's to the point where it's like super rare, pretty much almost never happens. A, because I understand the programming a lot better, so it's easier for me to understand what's going on. And B, just my standards have gotten higher. So if you're earlier in your career, don't beat yourself up too much over it if you don't completely understand everything you write, but just know that you should, right? But you're trying to get projects done and trying to ship code, so don't beat yourself up and be hung up for a week trying to figure out this one thing. Move on in the project and just know that over your course of your career, you're going to get better at that. Simon the Watch Guy says, hey, not sure if you have the time to answer, but I've been grinding out Lynda courses, Udemy, Solo, Learn App, trying to learn Swift. Am I on the right path? Been doing for about 3 to 4 weeks now. So 3 to 4 weeks is nothing. If you followed me, I preach patience. This is a super long journey. Don't get me wrong, it's awesome that you started, and I'm pumped that you're doing all that stuff in just 3 to 4 weeks. But I just want to set the expectations that even doing it for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, like you're not going to be a superstar programmer after that time. It's a super long journey. I mean, I'm almost 3 years into my career and I'm still learning so much every day. I still feel junior, because there's just so much to learn. So just want that mindset that it's a long journey. If you aren't where you think you need to be in 2 months, like that's silly. It's going to take a while. But yes, I would say you are on the right path. Starting out with those types of courses. The main thing I like to talk about is build call it a passion project. Build an app that you're interested in. Don't just build an app that's some tutorial that you're following. Because when you're trying to look for a job, people like that. They like to see that you thought of an idea, you solved the problem and built an app for it, and then you also shipped that app. And it was all your idea. It wasn't you just following some tutorial. So I would highly recommend that too to get started. And then also, that's going to keep you motivated because it's a passion project. You're gonna love working on it. And then you're just gonna learn stuff. I mean, I've worked on 7, 8 apps now, like production apps, and I still haven't touched nearly half the technologies that are out there, right? Like I talk about it all the time. I've never really touched core data. MapKit I've used very little, and it's just just kind of the luck of the draw of what projects you work on. Streaming video I've done a little, but depending on the type of apps you work on is what technologies you're going to work with, and it's just impossible to work with everything. But the more apps you do, the more you're going to get to touch. It's kind of why I like contracting, and I've mentioned this before. With contracting, that's the reason I've done 7 or 8 apps is because I've been contracting. When I was at my first startup, I worked on the same one app for the first year and a half. So I wasn't like expanding my horizons just working on that app. So that's another reason why I highly recommend contracting, not as your first job, but earlier in your career, because you're going to get to touch a lot of technologies because you're going to be working on so many different projects. Liam, what's going on, Liam? Good to see you again. Says, I should leave Canada and go back to England to visit my parents. I'm homesick now. Yeah, man, I missed your videos, to be honest. Yeah, they're coming soon. I thought you lived in England, Liam. I didn't know you lived in Canada. So yeah, Nat says, just watch your custom title view of navigation bar. Super helpful. Thanks. Yeah, that video has a little bit of issues, I guess, because I did that video like the day, WWDC came out. And I was on like Xcode 9 beta 1, iOS 11 beta 1. So I guess some of it's changed because the latest comments in my videos are complaining that it's not working a lot. So I need to go back and revisit that. But I'm glad you found it helpful and it helped out. And it's super simple. It's like 1 line of code, so it's not too bad. Liam says, I watch other people's videos a little, but yours are a little more down to earth and you don't sugarcoat the process. Thank you. Yeah, I try to be relatable. Again, because I was in your guys' shoes 2 years ago, right? I was online watching videos, trying to learn, trying to get a job as an iOS developer, trying to get my career started. So I think that's why I'm more relatable, is because I was in your guys' shoes not too long ago. Whereas some other people that may have been, they went to college and they've been doing it for 10 years, might not have that same relatability. So Simon the Watch Guy says, thanks, great advice. No problem. Zach says, good morning. Zach, you missed so Zach is the host of Fireside Swift, who we wrote with. You missed my plug in talking about it, Zach, so feel free to plug it some more. But yeah, Zach and Steve are the hosts of Fireside Swift. We had a good time the podcast is like an hour and a half long, I think, but we ended up chatting for almost like 3 hours. So it was a great time. My first podcast. I appreciate you guys having me on. Hopefully we'll do more in the future. I know you guys don't want to do guests all the time, but maybe a year from now we'll make it an annual thing. So Liam says, yeah, he is from England. He just works and lives in Quebec. He doesn't speak French. Yeah, cool. Neil says, my dude, just checking in. What's going on, Neil? Yeah, so Neil's the one that helped out with that idea of doing the code review. Naturally, this was just a real quick live stream. I didn't have time to like prep any like presentation. It's kind of why I'm just talking to you guys and doing a Q&A. Hopefully next week I'll have time to actually do that. Although, now that I'm kind of thinking on the fly here, because I'm just working on my laptop, it's super hard to do like a screen share. I don't have my huge monitor and everything like that. So maybe the next couple live streams while I'm traveling will just be, I'll think of a topic to talk about. I probably won't be able to do anything, but when I get back, I want to start doing more of those code reviews because I thought that was fun. I like that and got a lot of good feedback on reviewing code live, and a lot of people got some use out of that. So it's pretty cool. Nick Millick says, I'm a lawyer and want to start learning Swift. Great channel for motivation. Keep it up, Sean. Thanks. I'm curious to know, are you going to like switch professions or kind of just build apps on the side? It's an interesting lawyer to developer switch. Nick said, if you're familiar with the Swift Coders podcast, the host of that named Garrick, I think he did something very similar. He was a lawyer and switched to an iOS developer. So you might want to reach out to him on Twitter. Just look on Twitter at Swift Coders Podcast, or look who I follow. Like, go to my Twitter, look who I follow, because I follow him. His name's Garrick, Garric. Yeah, DM him, reach out to him. I'm sure he'll have some insights on how that switch went from lawyer to software engineer. Zach says, no worries. I bet it was fantastic. All right. I can't, Slurpinator. It's funny. Hey, Sean, do you work on any personal apps on the side or just contracted apps? So I have a couple ideas for personal apps, but it comes down to a time issue, not enough hours in the day. I work on so many contracts, about 40 to 50 hours a week. And then my other free like work time goes to YouTube, kind of, I guess. I haven't done a video in 2 weeks. But so it's like if I was working on my own separate app, like YouTube would suffer. And I'm really trying to juggle like what I want to like put my focus into and put my time into. And YouTube is definitely at the top of that list because I think I could, even though I'm not right now, like I have a lot of plans and a lot of stuff I want to do with the YouTube channel. Because like I've talked about this before, but one of my paths in 2019 that I'm thinking, or 2018, I'm sorry, next year coming up, that I'm thinking about doing is still contracting, but cutting back on my hours. So like I said, I'm doing about 40 to 50 hours a week. Cut that back to maybe the 30 range, and that'll give me 15 to 20 hours extra a week, and that is just going to go all in on YouTube. Where I'm going to probably do courses, ebooks, start putting out 3 or 4 videos a week, just really go all in on YouTube, because I really think I have a good thing going here, and it's like I just haven't put gas on the fire yet. That's, I guess, kind of what I'm saying. It's like I'm kind of laying these foundations, and then like once I'm ready to put gas on the fire, I think it can really turn into something. It's just a matter of finding the time to do that. And then to your point, if I was working on my own personal app, I just wouldn't have the time to do that. So it's kind of I have to pick the trade-offs. Can't do everything. Wish I could. I wish there was 50 hours in a day, but there's not. Taylor says, you did great on Fireside, Sean. Thank you. Like I said, my first podcast, got a hat tip to the host for asking good, interesting questions to keep me talking. So yeah, like I said, I'm excited for the next one to come out too. And it's kind of funny, when I listened to the podcast, the Fireside Swift, I was kind of like taking notes on like how I could get better. It was almost like an athlete like watching film, because like I said, it was my first one. So I was like, I caught myself like pulling away from the mic too much because I could hear my voice going quiet, and I could tell I was like not on top of the mic. So got to get better on my mic skills. Socket says, would you run my app and give your opinion when I super chat? Not right now, because like I said, I'm not set up for that, to live stream that. I'm happy to do that, and of course I would next week. So if you want to go ahead and do that, go for it, and I'll get that all set up for next week. But like I said, this week's live stream was like I have lunch plans here in like 20 minutes. Well, I got to leave in like 20 minutes. So this was just a quick, hop on, say what's up, give you guys an update, do a Q&A. But yeah, if you want to go ahead and super chat, I'll go ahead and review that app next week. I'll run it. And like I said, when I did the one with Neil, it was, I'll review your UI, kind of give you some UI UX tips on what I think, and then we'll kind of go over a code. Now, kind of keep it to one screen or to one flow, right? Like if your app has 20 screens, like it's just impossible to sit there and go through all 20 screens and how they interconnect. But if you just have like maybe like your onboarding flow, or you have one screen, like your main home screen or something like that, keep it to that. And yeah, absolutely. I'll definitely review that next week probably. Sidar says, how's your prep for the interviews at big companies going? And what are your plans for it, since 2018 is just around the corner? So I haven't started prepping. Again, as I've talked about my time issues with traveling, and then that project, having 10 days cut off of the due date on that project, kind of everything got put on the back burner. So yeah, I haven't started yet. And then obviously now it's this Thanksgiving weekend. I probably won't do anything there. I won't get back to San Francisco till like early December. I have to get back for Star Wars, if you guys know. I have Star Wars tickets for December 14th or whatever. So I bought a one-way ticket to Pennsylvania. So like I'll just kind of go back to San Francisco whenever I get bored here. But I have to be back by the 15th. So I imagine when I get back on the 15th, that's when I'll start prepping for it. So yeah. Liam says, kind of off topic. When you're contracting / self-employed, do you find your social life kind of goes downhill? Yep. With me doing SEO, I find myself constantly working as I pay myself. Yeah. So the good thing with me is, like, you guys know I go play basketball, 4 times a week. And to me, that's like my social life, to be honest with you. Because, there's a group of like 100 guys there. I've been playing with them for like 3 years, and, I've gotten to know them. So to me, that's kind of like I go hang out with my friends for 3 hours, 4 times a week. So that's my social life, essentially. There's other like sprinkled drinks and dinners and stuff there, but for the most part, it's just basketball. But yeah, and that's part of the reason why I am looking for a big company, just to get that experience with, a larger iOS team, and just the social life. Because yeah, working by myself out of my apartment every day, yeah, it does kind of wear on you after a little bit. And then, yeah, that's the other thing. I don't know if this is what you meant by this, but when you're contracting, like, you view your time as money. That's a very common thing, and you actually view it like that. It's like, oh, do I want to watch this movie, or I could work for 2 hours? Really watching that movie, a 2-hour movie, just costs you, or in my case, like $160. And it's like, is that movie really worth it, or should I work too much? And that's not the right mindset to have, because you have to like wind down and not over, do it. But it's hard not to. Even like coming here on vacation, I'm like, well, probably not going to work for a week. That's a lot of money. So it's like, not only is it going to cost me money to travel, but I'm going to lose the opportunity cost of the money I could be making. So it's hard to, and again, I'm not saying that's the right mindset, but it's hard not to fall into that mindset, is the point I wanted to make. Mark says, I love to partner with you on idea of courses. Yeah, so my 2019 or 18, how do I keep saying 2019? 2018 plans are very nascent. They're very like early. So if you guys have suggestions, ideas, something you want to work with me with that you think could benefit us both, definitely reach out to me, email, Twitter, whatever. And again, so my fork in the road is major company, still do YouTube kind of part-time, or still contract and then like all in YouTube. So I'm only going to do all this extra YouTube stuff if I decide to stay contracting and all in YouTube. If I end up going big company or do something else, then I'll still do YouTube part-time, and I won't be doing like courses and ebooks and stuff like that. So, guys, super chat. Liam, you're awesome. Always super generous. You're taking off. Have a good time with the family. Spending my Saturday working. Haha. Peace, chat. All right, see you, Liam. Awesome. Thanks again. Always super generous. Very much appreciated. Thanks, Liam. Okay, let's go back to so what I was saying. So like I said, if you guys have any ideas for things that I could do for this channel that could help the community, that you think we could partner on and help out, happy to hear it. So appreciate that, Mark. Sasha, sorry, I can't pronounce that. Shashant Shinde says, hi, your videos are awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. Sanket says, not now, in the future. He's talking about reviewing his app. Yeah, like I said, just I'll kind of say it again, just because a lot of people might not have been here on the last live stream. So what I did last live stream was I reviewed Neil's code, where I went through his view controller and talked about coding style, how to do stuff, and I was going to do his UI, but we had technical issues. Long story short, part of me like doing all this extra YouTube stuff is trying to find revenue streams, right? Because if I'm going to go YouTube full time, I have to replace my revenue. And part of that was reviewing your guys' code. Like if you wanted your app reviewed live on the stream, just super chat $5 and I will do it next week. So that's what Sanket is talking about. So yeah, just go ahead and super chat $5 when you want, and then we'll get in touch. When you super chat, send me your Twitter address or your email address, and I'll reach out to you, and we'll line it up and we'll figure it out. Zach says, getting quiet. We're about to record our 16th episode tonight, and I'm still terrible at it. Yeah, it's just not natural for me. I guess it's kind of a learned skill. But when I'm talking about like when you have your mic, like it's probably a bad gesture. When you have your mic like right in front of your face, yeah, it's hard to like make sure you stay there. Because like I said, I noticed myself in the podcast. Sometimes I would sound amazing, and then other times I would sound like distant and muffled. Andy says, good morning, Sean. What's going on? Francisco says, would you consider partnering with one of your followers to help you out coding your app as a learning experience for the person you choose and as help for you? So that's another thing I've been experimenting with, and it's actually part of my Patreon community, because they're also doing an awesome job supporting me, so I want to help them out, give and take. So I have started experimented with subcontracting on my actual contracts. It's a paid position. I pay them, a portion of what I get hourly to work on screens, and that's still a very much experimental phase, so I don't want to take anybody else on. I'm only doing one person right now, and we're trying to work out the kinks, and I'm trying to figure out if this is even something I want to do, if it's something that's worth it, meaning like, if I break even on it, the headache of organizing it all is not worth it, right? I have to make some money on it. So I'm trying to figure all that out. If we dial this, me and this other guy, we dial it in, we get it going to a good spot, then I'm definitely going to like start, adding one more person. Again, keep testing that, working that out, and then slowly building that up to where I do have a group of developers that when I get contracts, I can pass on the work, because that'll help me out. I mean, like, you guys hear me probably sound like I'm complaining about it all the time. It's an awesome problem to have, don't get me wrong, the 40 to 50 hours a week, but that'll ease that pain, and I can do other stuff. So that is in the works. But again, just to be honest, and I don't want to sound like, oh, you have to pay me to do this, but it is going to be to my Patreon members first, because they're showing great generosity supporting me, so I want to give back to them. If you don't know about my Patreon community, go ahead and check out patreon.com/Sean Allen. You can learn more about it there. I won't plug it too much. LA Waitress, good to see you again. Have you ever tried making your own app in pursuit of millions? If not, why not? Because that's, in my opinion, that's like a lottery ticket. Sure, I could get lucky and build the next Instagram or something, but way more likely than not, it'll turn into nothing or make a menial amount of money each month. Again, I'm not saying it's impossible to do that. It's just, to me, it's like a lottery ticket. The odds are just so much against you. I would rather do contracting work and make a pretty solid living. To me, I think that's the safer bet. But maybe someday, you never know. And that's the other thing, like, I don't have an idea. If an idea struck me that I was like, oh my God, this is going to be awesome, I would have to do it. My tune would completely change if I believed in it. That idea hasn't struck me. And I'm not just going to like try to force the idea into an app, because I don't think, that's the way to do it. But yeah, if an amazing idea strikes me, then I would absolutely do my own app, start my own startup, do that whole kind of thing. But I believe in order for somebody to do that, the idea just has to hit you, and you have to like you can't sleep at night because this is all you think about, and you're just like, oh my God, this is amazing, this is going to work. I don't have that feeling yet for any idea. If it comes though, maybe we'll change. Javine says, hi Sean, good to see you again. It's been a long time. Yep. Your coding journey is inspiring us. I got new contract work and starting good confidence. Thanks again. Awesome. Glad to hear you got some work. I've seen like a lot of people in my community now either get jobs, start contracting, or switch, from their current job to an iOS developer position. So it's awesome. You guys are kind of coming along this journey with me, and it's cool to see you guys actually progressing yourself as well. So that's awesome. Good to hear, Javine. Dilip says, Sean, my question is, I have two choices right now. First one, handicraft company is offering me a job as an inventory management manager with good amount of salary. Second one is iOS development company. Like the iOS development company is offering you a job. Really, I can't answer this question for you, because this is, what do you want to do? I believe that you shouldn't chase money in a job, my personal opinion. I believe because that's what I did in the earlier part of my life. I believe you should go to work every day, like enjoying what you do. Obviously not every day you're going to be in love with it, but if one job you don't like, but it pays you, X amount more versus another job you love that pays you a little bit less, I would take the job that pays less 100% of the time. So again, I can't answer that question for you. It's whatever one you really want to do. Like if your dream was to be an iOS developer, then go after that. Mr. Lacrosse says, is playing Swift Playgrounds useful? I'm assuming you're talking about the iPad app that's kind of like a game. I think if you have zero programming background and you're literally just starting, like you haven't done Treehouse courses, you haven't done anything else, like if your first thing, I think is great for that. However, I think once you've kind of learned a little bit, and don't get me wrong, I've only done like the first 3 lessons, so maybe I've only done the beginner lessons, so I could be completely wrong about this, and I'm happy to be wrong if you are, and if I am, somebody let me know. Maybe the further lessons get more advanced, but from what I did, it was like super beginner. But I do think it's cool, like if you have kids, or like I said, if you're just starting out, it's pretty useful. Dilip says, oh, offering an iOS developer job, but they're saying that you have to work for 2 months for free, and then we'll give you salary, and your salary will increase on your performance. So I kind of did this when I came out to San Francisco because I wanted to break into the startup community, and I did have some savings backed up. So not everybody might be in that situation, but when I worked at my first startup, I did a 3-month internship. It wasn't for free, but it was for like $1,000 a month, which not going to pay your bills in San Francisco, that's for sure. So it's almost for free, and I did that because I just wanted to break in. Like, somebody give me a chance, let me just break in. And so if you have savings to back that up, or maybe you're living at home, or I don't know what your situation is, but if you're able to not have a salary for 2 months, and it's a good company, and again, your dream is to be an iOS developer, this is really what you want, then I would do it. However, if not taking a salary for 2 months as like a trial period, you would like not be able to pay your rent, then no, obviously. And again, I want to really stress that this has to be like a good company that you really want to work for. Like if Apple said, hey, Sean, come work for us for 3 months for free, and then we'll hire you after that, I would do it in a heartbeat, right? But if like some horrible company was just trying to get free work out of me, then no, right? So it's kind of a judgment call, and I would have to know a lot more about the company and the opportunity at hand. So if you feel the opportunity is amazing, then I would do it. If you think some company's just trying to take advantage of you, then no. Andy Gonzalez says, CS student here, would love to intern under you. Yeah, like I said, hit up the Patreon community. You also get invited to the Slack channel, and we're always chatting in the Slack channel. I'm very accessible in there. People asking questions all the time, and other developers are helping you out. We can talk more about it there. Please give me social login video. To be honest with you, that's, again, I mentioned earlier in the stream, you can't touch every technology. I've only done Facebook login once. All my other apps are like just their own custom email, password, no social stuff. So I don't have a ton of experience with that, to be honest with you. Could you do a detailed video on closures? Yes, Josh, that is on the list, because that is a very, closures took me a long time to learn, just being, up front there. And I honestly, I still probably don't even understand them 100%. So, I mean, I understand the basics of them, but all the, the full 100% detail of it. So yeah, so that is definitely on the list, because I know that is a confusing topic that even I struggled with. Yeah, mark the bad gesture, yeah. I realized when I did it, I was like, probably shouldn't put this on the internet. Hello from Baku. Okay, I just left my job of 12 years to take on a full-time gig as an iOS dev. First full day. That's awesome, Mark. Yeah, I was wondering, because I know you got the scholarship to Swift Summit, and I see you post some stuff about coding. So I didn't know if you were still learning, trying to be an iOS dev or what, but that's awesome that you got a full-time gig and you start tomorrow. Best of luck. It's interesting that you start right before a long holiday. But anyway, Francisco is talking to Mark here. That is neat. I'm about to do the same and pursuing it on my own. Congratulations. All right, guys, I'm going to do rapid fire answers. I have about 5 minutes before I have to go. So if you have any last second quick answers, right, like don't ask some super long one, but super quick ones, go ahead and get them in. When I get to the end of the list, I'll probably have to take off. Neil says, my little girl's 9 and she loves the Swift iPad app. To be 9 and have an understanding of functions, yeah, I would love it. So it's actually funny. So when I'm home now, one of my little cousins is, I think he's probably 8 or 9 as well. He's super into Star Wars, like I'm super into Star Wars too. So I'm actually going to buy him, and he's like a little genius, super smart. So I'm trying to nurture that. So I'm actually going to go buy, I don't know if you guys have seen it, they're the Sphero like R2-D2 or BB-8, where you can actually program them using the Swift Playgrounds app, and you can program R2-D2 to like move around and stuff. Actually going to be buying that soon for him to like try to get him into programming, because I think that'll be a good gateway. So I'll probably actually do a video on that because I think it's super cool. If it works out, right? If it's a dud and it's like kind of stupid, I probably won't. But if I do that and it's like awesome and I think everybody should be doing it, I'll definitely do a video on it. Josh R says, would you be interested in doing a video series on Realm database? Yes, because at least from the devs I've talked to, a lot of people prefer Realm to Core Data. So Realm is, another like Core Data kind of replacement, and you guys heard me talk about Core Data, my feelings on that. So in the future, Josh, I wouldn't say that is going to happen soon, because again, I've never used Realm. I would have to learn it. I would probably have to use it in one of my projects. which would probably have to be one of my contracting projects because I don't have time to build a whole side one. So if that time ever comes, I'll absolutely do a video on it. And I've been wanting to, just, so many video ideas, not enough time. Jotin says, I just graduated from boot camp. Should I apply to jobs or do an internship first? Kind of like similar to my previous answer. That depends on the opportunity. I got a job right out of my boot camp, but it wasn't because of my dev skills. Like I've said this before, somebody took a chance because they liked me and they liked my attitude and work ethic. They knew I didn't really know much as a developer, but they're like, you're coachable, you're trainable. We know you'll get it. We can teach you. That's why I got the job. It wasn't because I was a good developer at all. Again, Jatine, this is a hard question to answer. It would really depend on the opportunity that was presented to you. Like if you had a full-time gig versus an internship and that you both had offers, but again, the internship was like from Apple and the full-time job was from like some stupid, silly company, obviously you're going to take the internship from Apple. So it really all depends on the opportunity. Tim says, hey, Sean, how much Android development have you done? Any tips on tips for transitioning from iOS to Android? I actually haven't done any. I've thought about it, but like I hate even looking at the Android iOS operating system. Like I don't know. I'm just very, very biased against it. And I know it's fine. And I know the hardware of the phones are just as good, if not even better than the hardware on the iPhones. But I just don't like the software in the operating system. So anyway, no, I haven't done any Android development. I have thought about dipping my toes in it. And if I did it, I would start learning Kotlin, just because if you already know Swift, from what I hear anyway, I don't have firsthand experience, but from what I hear is Kotlin is very, very similar to Swift, and that would be that would be the easiest learning transition, right? It'd be easier to go from Swift to Kotlin than Swift to Java, from what I hear. Again, I haven't done it. Alexander says, hey Sean, I'm new to your channel after learning most of my Swift from Brian. Any tips for a final year student? I'm struggling to keep the drive to work on Swift whilst getting my final year done. I would just, again, preach patience. You're still a student. I know you're probably going into the job market afterwards, but when you say final year student, I don't know if you're saying you're a computer science student or if you're studying something else, because that would change my answer. If you're a computer science student, I would say focus on that, get those fundamentals, learn Swift later. If you're studying something else and trying to learn Swift as well, and then also after college trying to get a developer position, then that's a completely different answer. I would say focus on, okay, computer science, I see now. Yeah, I would just focus on computer science because just those fundamentals alone, I'm not going to say that's guaranteed to get you a job, obviously, but those are the fundamentals you need that are really going to help you out in the interview process. And then kind of just focus on Swift after that. But still, don't forget about Swift. Like still do it a little bit on the side, but don't stress yourself out over not knowing Swift. Definitely get those CS fundamentals first. Like I wish I had those. I have an economics and finance degrees. So yeah, definitely focus on that, in my opinion. Okay, almost at the end, wrapping it up here. Abraham says, do you know about the whole module optimization? My interview at Disney said there's something iOS developers need to get down. Unless there's another term for that, like maybe somebody calls that something different. I don't even think I've ever heard that. So like I said, unless that's another way to call something else, I don't know. So sorry, Abraham, I can't really help on that. In fact, as soon as the stream's over, I'm going to Google it because now I'm curious. Whole module optimization. Yeah, not sure. Avar says Realm has a server side as well. Just saying, more than core data. Yeah, Avar is correct. They've been building out. They have like also like a backend replacement. Yeah. So when I say Realm as a core data replacement, that's what they started off as. And they're building, they're expanding, right? So that's a product that is ever growing. They're going to keep building more on top of it. So Avar's is correct. It is a lot more than just a core data replacement. I just have that in my brain because that's what they started off as. Jachin says thanks. Alexander says I have a grad job offer in a different department, but I was hoping to migrate within the company to iOS. So if you already have a job, I wouldn't say there's any rush, because I think my opinion is once you get a job and you're in there and you prove that you're a high performer, you prove that you're awesome, you're an awesome employee, great work ethic, great attitude, all that good stuff. They're gonna let you do whatever you want almost, right? If they don't want to lose you, if you prove to be so like undeniable that we can't lose this guy, he's awesome, you're gonna have a lot of leeway in like what you want to do. So again, if you are that awesome employee and you're like, you know what, I really want to switch to iOS, I've been learning it, they're gonna facilitate that so they don't lose you. Again, if you prove to be that great employee. All right, last question before I wrap up. Thanks. I'm currently doing a contract internship where I'm building a simple application in both iOS and Android. The transition hasn't been terrible, as I've already done an iOS version. Yeah, so think with any language, going from, right, I know a lot of people here are trying to learn their first language, which is Swift. Once you know a language, learning your second language, I'm not going to say super easy, but is easier than learning the first language. So that definitely helps with the transition. All right, guys, that looks like it wraps it up for the questions. Again, good to be back. Apologize for the lack of videos. We'll get back on track, but we'll see you guys next time.